Hi, my name is Adora Spitak, and I'm at the Green Festival in Seattle, Washington, here to speak with Dr. Kevin Danver. I'm pronouncing that right, I believe.
You are.
Great. So obviously, since you are a co-founder of the Green Festival, I just wanted to ask you some of the things you've seen. How has it changed over since when you first created it and now?
Well, the first show we did was 9 years ago in San Francisco, and we weren't sure if anybody was going to show up, and about 13,000 people came. And each year, it's gone up about 5,000 people. So now in San Francisco, we get about 45,000 people every weekend. We divert 98% of the waste generated at the event into recycling and composting. That does that. We'll have like about 150 speakers at each event, and they all volunteer their time. Many of these speakers are big authors who usually get paid thousands of dollars to speak. They do it for free. 1,000 volunteers. The local host committee in Seattle, we have 17 members of city government who are part of our host committee. It's about 150 people. The environmental groups, the nonprofit groups, government agencies, green companies. And what we're seeing is the coming together of people realizing we have to make a really quick transition to a sustainable economy because we're changing the environment and the climate in ways that can be really, really bad for future generations. So it's not so much my generation, it's a question of are we going to be good ancestors so that you and your children's children have a decent planet to live. That's the challenge.
So what would be your message to kids like me or to my age? What are some things that we can do in order to make sure that our children's children have this planet?
Well, the easiest thing to do and the thing that's best for you as an individual is to be nice to other people. We can now prove, this is scientifically not debatable, that if I do an act of kindness toward you, your serotonin levels go up. It's a neurotransmitter that your brain functions. My serotonin levels go up. And anyone who observes that act of kindness, their serotonin levels go up. So science and spirituality are coming together. We can prove scientifically that if you want to have a strong immune system and be healthy and live a long life, you be kind to other people. And that's how we recruit people into this movement to save humanity from itself. That's the agenda. How do we save humanity from itself? And the answer is 13 words from William McDonough, the green architect. He says, our primary rule should be, how do we love all the children of all species for all time? How do we love all the children of all species for all time? If all policy came down from that dictum of how do we love all children of all species for all time, we would take care of the planet and do the things we need to do to ensure a safe world for future generations.
Right, so it's not just about saving the planet, it's about being nice to everyone. And it's really the whole picture, I guess, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it starts with every single interaction you have, every person you meet. You go by a toll taker on the freeway and you say, gee, that's a really nice hairdo, or that's a nice hat. That doesn't cost you anything. It might be the nicest thing that's been happened to that person all day. So you improved someone else's life, and at the same time, you made yourself more healthy. Because when you're generous of spirit toward other people, it raises the levels of DHEA, immunoglobulin B, oxytocin, serotonin, all these good chemicals. The best pharmacy in the world is your own body. And if you live the right kind of life, you don't need to have a lot of external stuff coming in because you're producing those self-healing chemicals by your behavior toward other people. So again, science and spirituality coming together.
Great. So what are some things that you do in your own family to conserve energy or to, take greener steps?
Well, the first thing that people should do is look at energy efficiency. Energy efficiency is the cheapest, quickest return on any investment. So your light bulbs. If your light bulbs are incandescent light bulbs, 90% of that energy goes off as heat, and only 10% is producing light. That's super inefficient. And now there are programs in cities to help people replace incandescent bulbs. They will become illegal in the United States in another couple of years. But the compact fluorescents now are even being replaced by a more efficient kind of lighting called LEDs, light emitting diodes. And in the early stages of research, is a lighting system even better than I call OLEDs, organic light emitting diodes? So there's all this great technology coming along. We have to make it affordable to people. And the places where you can save the most energy and most money on energy efficiency is the worst buildings, like old public housing. So it turns out that the neighborhoods that need uplift the most are where the people who need training the most happen to live. So you've got a very sweet spot overlap between any social investment money that goes into training people how to make the buildings in their neighborhood operate more efficiently. You're getting double duty from that investment. You're helping turn this person into a tax-paying, wage-collecting, working citizen, as opposed to maybe being a drug dealer or going to jail, and it costs $40,000 a year to keep in jail. So you're impacting the social budget and the environmental budget, taking away from the negative and building on the positive. It's a very good effect.
Great. So I've seen, obviously, Green Festival has the support of a lot of sponsors. What do you think is the role of business?
Well, I think you need to make a distinction between enterprise as a methodology, selling goods and services and taking in money, from corporate domination. The problem we have in our country is not enterprise. We use enterprise. This is a big enterprise model. We have hundreds of companies in here. And even though we are nonprofits, Global Exchange and Green America are both nonprofits, we do business. Global Exchange has stores, we do tours, we publish books, we produce events. But the money we make isn't for us to get rich individually. It's to help create more joy and less suffering. Focused on justice, environmental justice, social justice. So where we're trying to point a direction to people is we have to make a transition as a human race, as a species, from having money values rule over the life cycle to instead have life values rule over the money cycle. We're sure we do business, but we subordinate the money part to social justice and restoring the environment. And as long as the money is subordinated to social justice and restoring the environment, there's no problem with enterprise. The problem is when big corporations get so big, too big to fail, and they start taking over. They've taken over our government. They've taken over the public airwaves. They control the public airwaves. How about if we would have public control of the public airwaves? The public airwaves belong to us, and the big media corporations don't even pay us rent, right? They just use it for free to pollute us with bad programming. So we have these major challenges in front of us, but we have to realize that we are only 4% of the world's people in the United States. We're consuming 25% of the world's resources. So if we practice conservation and efficiency and consume less, it's not just a matter of saving money and saving the environment, it's helping our reputation in the world. We don't want to be known as the pigs, the gluttons. That's not good. We want to be the innovators leading the rest of the planet in a green direction. Not like we would be out in front, because some countries like China are building more windmills than we are. And Japan and Germany are further ahead of us in solar. But we have 865 U.S. military bases around the world. Those military bases could be transitioned into being eco-industrial parks, green enterprise platforms, eco-universities, because the force structure of the U.S. military was designed to fight a Soviet tank army in Eastern Europe. That's not the threat now. The threat now is an ideologue who's willing to die carrying a suitcase bomb. And if that guy wants to die, you have no deterrent. What are you going to say? I'll kill you? He wants to die, right? So we would do much better, instead of shooting each mosquito with a $5 million missile, you dry up the swamp that produces mosquitoes in the first place. So you start converting U.S. military bases into eco-development platforms, green building, organic agriculture, recycling, composting. And there's a lot of countries that they would like that. It would create jobs, create new enterprises, and help make us friends around.
Yeah, so you've done talking to them about innovation and turning military bases into universities and these plans. What does your vision overall of a greener world or a better world look like?
Well, it would be a world with no starving children. Right now, there are 30,000 children a day who die from the effects of hunger. And that's not because there's not enough food in the world. There's enough food in the world. It's just that it's distributed so unevenly. if we reduced our meat consumption a little bit and took that grain and could distribute it to the poor of the world, we could wipe out hunger just by not eating so much meat. That's not a big deal. Actually, it's good for you to eat less meat or no meat for that matter. So, because there's all these chemicals put in the meat, all the antibacterial agents and stimulants and all that kind of stuff, that's not good for you to take that into your body. So, there would be no wars for oil. You know, if anybody thinks that the U.S. invasion of Iraq wasn't about oil, ask yourself this: if the major export of Iraq were broccoli, would we have any troops there? You know, I mean, it's really crazy that we're so strung out on fossil fuels, especially petroleum, that we would invade another country, kill over 100,000 people, blow up their churches, mosques, right? And then think people are going to be happy about that or like us. Those of us who travel a lot around the world get educated by people around the world who say, hey dude, what's going on with your country? You better go home and fix things there. Some crazy people running things. You know? And I'm a patriotic American. I don't like having people hate my country. That doesn't feel good. I don't have to say I'm a Canadian. I love Canada, but you know, I don't want to lie about who I am. So in my organization, Global Exchange, we took it on ourselves a long time ago to try and educate people about how we can create a world of love and caring and solidarity. And there's no more wars. If we put it to a vote, and everybody in the world could vote, and we said, should we shut down all the militaries and put that money into healthcare and education, we would get like 90-some% of the vote. We would win the vote. So we've already won. Those of us who believe in peace and solidarity and a green economy, we've already won in terms of most people in the world who would agree that we should save the environment instead of destroying it, etc. So at some point, somebody's going to put together